These words make people not want to work with you. There are certain words that make us look weak, phrases that make people not want to work with us, things that we do that subconsciously warn people not to spend money with us. These words and phrases act like client repellent. They can put you in the business friend zone. Either way, the result is the same, and that's you being in a situation where you're working really hard to get people to become clients, but for whatever reason, people just won't sign up. But good news, because once you know what these things are, you'll start to see them everywhere. In your content, on your website, on your landing pages, in videos you make, or conversations you find yourself having, in emails you send, and you'll be able to immediately fix it and bring your brand in line with who you really are. You're probably a genuine person, right? So we want to make sure the world can see that. So in this video, I'm going to run through the biggest offenders that make people not want to spend money with us and what to do instead. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you some obnoxious list of power words to use, but I will leave you with a few key pointers to make sure people listen to you when you speak and take action when you want them to. Here are some of the biggest offenders that you can start cutting today. Number 1, phrases that make you look weak. You want to be a strong leader, so avoid these phrases to boost your confidence and your reputation. Now, I could go through them one by one, but I'm going to just put them up on the screen. You can simply rewind, screenshot. This short list alone will open your eyes and change how people treat you. Now, we've only just started, but I've already got a bonus for you. If you're the kind of person who struggles with this type of stuff, you're probably doing it everywhere. So here's a tip that I get my clients to do if they're affected by this. Go to the Chrome web store and install an app called Just Not Sorry. It's a Chrome extension that warns you when you write emails using words that undermine and make you look weak. Next up, don't fire hose people. People usually only have space for 1 or 2 additional things to think about at any one time. But if you try and give them 3 or 7, then you are too difficult. You are making their life harder, not easier. But clients will pay big bucks to work with people who make their life easier. So the way you're speaking gives you away. So whether in content or in person, if you have more than 2 ideas going at the same time, you're pushing people away. Number 3, don't be vague. So don't say, I help people get the life they want and the future they deserve, when what you really want to say is, my clients lose body fat fast. See the difference? Clarity is incredibly expensive. Being easy to understand is valuable. People pay to be around others who help them understand things more clearly. So don't be vague. Number 4, don't puff up. Don't say we when you mean I. People already know you might have a small business, and guess what? They don't care. But don't drop an obvious lie. This gives them a reason to not trust you. Don't use persuasion gimmicks. In fact, any gimmick will make you look silly, and quality people don't put their money with silly. For example, saying, we currently have a waitlist to work with us. That's 2 gimmicks. Firstly, no one believes you have a waitlist. And second, you used we instead of I. It's a dead giveaway that you're not confident in yourself, and quality people don't work with others who aren't confident in themselves. This one might come across a little bit weird, but don't welcome people. This goes for your website, your landing page, your newsletter, or your social profile. You're disrespecting other people's time and energy. Just cut to the chase and let them know as soon as possible why they should keep reading. One of my favorites. Don't be clever. You're not well known. You're not a comedian. Well, if you are a comedian, then you can kind of disregard this one then. But you haven't earned the space in people's mind or time for them to think twice about what you're saying. Just say what you mean. Clever headlines don't work that well. So if you're only getting 20 or 100 views, you want to make sure those 20 or 100 really count. And clever calls to action perform terribly. Clever only really works when you're huge, like Apple or Coke. Clarity is more important than being clever. Once you have momentum and you have a bit of a brand and people know who you are and you've got clients and you don't need to get more clients because people are coming in, then you can experiment and be as clever as you want to be. But until then, just be clear, don't be clever. This one I was pretty guilty of for quite some time. And I think it's because I always thought I had to fancy up my language so that people would think I was smarter than what I thought I was. But if you know your market, then talk to them like they're the person right in front of you. And every big word you use instead of a simple one is one more person who just stopped listening to you. Don't discount. It makes you look weak and it makes your services less valuable. Do I mean don't discount ever? No, I don't mean that. The only way to discount is to make it conditional. See, when it's conditional, the buyer understands why it's discounted and it doesn't affect their perceived value. In fact, it adds to the win-win nature of the transaction. Makes it even more fun. And finally, this one has ravaged the coaching industry and it's creeping its way into consulting. Don't bother people in their direct messages. It makes you look weak. It makes you look like you've got way too much time on your hands. It takes away your authority. It doesn't position you as a leader. If people are reaching out to you in direct messages, sure, have the conversation. Take it out of the direct messages as fast as possible though. Get it to a phone conversation, get it to a Zoom call. Actually communicate with the human and see if they're going to be a good fit. Allow them to ask you questions. Don't try and control them in Messenger. There are people who can do that method very well, and I'm not taking anything away from them. They do it very well, good for them. But for the average person trying to copy that and trying to make that happen, communicate in Messenger, it's not a good look. Don't be the first person to message someone. Don't cold DM people. Average and below average are the only people who are going to really want to respond to you and engage with you. People who are high quality, they don't mess with that stuff. So you don't mess with that stuff either. Instead of a bunch of obvious stuff, here's a few keys that have really helped me. This is for when you're talking to someone in person. You don't need to be dominant, but you do need to ensure that you aren't viewed as unimportant. So the simplest way to do this is just not rush to speak. Just wait. See, when you rush to speak, not only do you increase the chance that you're going to trip over your words or cut people off, but you'll often find yourself competing with somebody else who's talking at the same time. They might try and get louder, or you might try and push through. It doesn't look very good at all. No. This kills the vibe. This kills meaning. This breaks down nuance. But if you just wait for a clear break in a conversation, the stage can be all yours. And all the words you say will have that much more value because you'll have everyone's full attention. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you're being talked over, all you need to do is stop and graciously signal for the other person to continue on. Let them have their say. Let them have the moment. Give them all the attention. And then when the time is right, you can talk. But don't compete. Don't rush to speak. Give people space. Now, that's in person. This one is something that you can do anywhere, and that is lead with you instead of I or me. No one likes a person who keeps talking about themselves a lot. However, everyone loves to talk about themselves. Have you ever watched incredible salespeople and watched what they do? They get the other person talking about them and things that they like. The other person can sit there talking about themselves for 5-10 minutes and at the end think, I really like that person. You know what? John's a great guy. Let's work with him. And all that John did was just ask questions in a way that makes the person want to share about themselves. So whether in website copy or video content or in person, keep them at the front of the conversation and keep yourself at the back of the line. I think you're going to love this one. If you haven't discovered the Hemingway app yet, hemingway.app, simply run everything that you write for the next few weeks through Hemingway app. Copy, paste, and it'll recalibrate your brain as to just how simple you really want to make things. When we understand something really well, i.e. you're an expert, we have a habit of overcomplicating things. Now, this leads to people thinking that working with us will be complicated too. We can't let that be the message that someone gets from having a conversation with us. So use the Hemingway app and have a revelation of just how simple you can make things. Remember, simple is not easy. It's very challenging to communicate what you're trying to say in a very simple way. So run everything through the Hemingway app for a couple of weeks and watch how it changes what you write, what you say, and how you think. Oh, Stephen King fans are going to know this one. Kill your darlings. So this is something I learned from the genius Stephen King. Learning to kill your darlings is this idea that we hold on to phrases, pieces of writing that we personally like. We're proud of them, but they don't really serve the reader. In writing, this means you've got to take a sword to edit with. But when speaking, this is when we have ideas that require too much education to be useful quickly for the listener. So if you find yourself using terminology or phrases that you have to keep explaining to people, then kill that darling. Find a better way to say it. So this is where the rubber hits the road. We write things, we create content, we have calls to action. Be specific with your calls to action. Don't be vague, be specific, be brief. This next one is closely related. Give people the one single next step. Don't say, click here to find a time to book a call to learn more about what working together would look like. No, just say, to learn more, click here. That's it. Okay, finally, steal. Steal your customers' words. They know what they want and need better than you. So when you overhear them talking about your products, your ideas, your themes, you'll probably realize that their language is different than yours. Their language is less complicated than yours. So don't be stubborn, use their language, and you'll remove the barriers of communication. Business can be tricky enough without these unforced errors. Stopping saying these words and these bad habits will allow you to remain in contention. People are more likely to listen when you speak, to read your writing, to take action when you want them to. More people will want to become clients more often. You don't need tricks or hacky marketing. You just want people to take you serious enough for long enough to see what you're offering and let the value of your offers speak for themselves. Before I knew this stuff, I was trying so many things to get clients. I was completely unaware that there were simple giveaways that people were picking up on that made me not look like the best option for them. And once I realized what I was doing, not only was it easier to get high-paying clients, but it changed my thinking. I got better paying clients because I was of a better quality. It seems simple, and it is, but it's not easy. And that's what makes this so exciting, because most people are happy being average. This means you can really stand out. See, what we say is literally a snapshot of how we think. So when we say things that give away our averageness, high quality clients can see that and they choose to take their business elsewhere. I'm not suggesting you need to be someone who you're not. No, don't get me wrong. But what I am suggesting is that you level up your copywriting skills, because it's probably the most useful skill you can have as a business owner in 2024. Every successful business owner can simplify their message and communicate effectively. And most of them can write killer copy as well. So whether you want to be a copywriter or not is kind of irrelevant, because this is a skill that makes you a better business owner. If you've got goals and plans to grow your business, you're going to love this next video. It's about achieving difficult things and my superior alternative to goal setting. I'll see you in the next video.